Wait, it's September. Why am I doing a Pride's Past? Pride Month's over. Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is another episode of Pride's Past, snippets of LGBTQ+ history. Now, as I said, it is not Pride Month, so why am I doing this? Well, why not? I'm not waiting another year for this, so bleep it. I'm just gonna do this now. So yeah, this is gonna be a series about people from history who would have been part of the LGBTQ+ community if it had been a thing in their day. Now, the first episode was mainly about trying to answer the question whether or not Leonardo, yeah, the shirt does make sense, was actually homosexual. Now, I'm still gonna be looking for examples of these people's GRSM identities, because you can't just say that real historical people are GRSM without providing any evidence. At least not when that's what the whole video is about. So I'm still gonna do that, but I'd like to dive a little deeper into their actual lives, give a bit of a biography as well. Now, with Leo, I figured that wasn't really necessary, because everyone knows who the guy was. But with the people I'm going to cover in the future, I think that's going to be a bit more necessary. And now, onto our person in the spotlight of today. As you may have guessed, because it's in the bleeding title, this episode is about a lady called Sappho. Sappho of Lesbos was a poet from ancient Greece, who was so good that none other than Plato himself, maybe, called her the 10th muse. But that's the very least I can say about her. So let's say some more about her. So, who was this girl, and how gay was she? Well, before I actually tell you what we know about Sappho, I need to point out that a lot of the stuff we know about her, and really anything about Antiquity in general, is super uncertain. We can never be entirely certain which of the things that the ancient authors describe actually happened, or where exactly it happened, and certainly not when. Like, we can get a basic idea of things that happened, or at least what people believed happened, but how much of it is true? We don't really know. A lot of what the ancient historians wrote about either contradict each other, are completely impractical, or just contradict the archaeology. Also, they were poets, so they didn't take accuracy as seriously as a modern historian would. So you might want to take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Or back. So, who was this Sappho exactly? Well, she was born around 630 BCE, maybe, in Mytilene on the Isle of Lesbos. Her mother's name might have been Claes, but the reason we think that seems to just be because that was her daughter's name. So it's possible, but it might as well have been something completely different. The sources also can't agree on what her dad was called, but according to Ovidius, he died when she was 7. Now, since she had a daughter, she must have had a husband or a partner or something at some point, because that's how biology works. Well, according to the Suda, which is an encyclopedia about the ancient world, dating from the 10th century, her husband was some guy called Kerkulas of Andros, which is clearly not true, because first of all, 10th century, and second of all, the Greek word kerkos refers to the male productive organ. Not something I particularly wanted to know, but here we are. Also, andros literally means man. So let's get back to Sappho. It is also said that she was a schoolmistress. So basically, she is said to have led a school for girls, which explains any feelings she may have towards girls, proving that she is not in fact gay. Because, yeah, she's probably gay, which is why I'm talking about her. Again, a lot of uncertainty about this, but it is generally accepted that she probably was. That school teacher thing, by the way, was made up in the early 20th century. There's no evidence that she was not, but there doesn't seem to be any reason to assume that she was either. But was she gay? I mean, I bleeping hope so, because I'm halfway through the video and I don't want this to be all for nothing. Well, she inspired not just one, but two terms that are now central in the LGBTQ plus lexicon. I mean, her name is Sappho of Lesbos. Does it really surprise anyone that she's the etymological reason behind the term lesbian? So, if you don't know, the term lesbian refers to women who are sexually attracted to women. She also inspired the term sapphic, which refers to women, or people on the feminine side of the spectrum, who are attracted, not necessarily exclusively, to other women or people on the feminine side. So one would expect Sappho herself to probably be sapphic too. I mean, it's bleeping named after her. So was she? Or is that just a legend? Well, later writers from Antiquity interpret her as a sort of female pederast, which I've talked about in the last episode. But the code word here is interpret, because the evidence is dubious at best. Like, it can be interpreted that way, if you really want to, but it might as well be the complete opposite. So it's probably better to look at the primary sources. Sources that date back to the time when Sappho was alive, and that talk about her very innermost thoughts and feelings. Not something a historian gets all that often. But in this case, we have exactly that. Because don't forget that Sappho was a poet, and writing about her innermost thoughts and feelings is what she did. So if we want to know if she was attracted to females, it might be a good idea to have a look at those poems. So Sappho wrote 9 volumes of lyrical poetry, which means these poems are written to be performed to music. Music from a lyre, hence the name lyrical. Anyway, 9 volumes should give us plenty of material to see if there's any female attraction there. Well, she has a bunch of satirical poems that talk about girls who ran away from her to other women, but we don't actually know the nature of the relationship between Sappho and these girls. It might have been romantic, or they might have been educational. We just don't know. But there is a fragment that actually suggests some potential homoerotic actions. Basically, this poem, which is creatively called Fragment 94, talks about all the nice things Sappho used to do with one of these girls. And one does get the impression that these are romantic things one would do with a lover. But they might not be. However, one of the things she lists reads as follows: "And on soft beds you would satisfy your longing." Now, I suppose this longing could be a whole variety of things that don't have to be erotic, but it's definitely an option. And in some poems, she actually states that she is attracted to the beauty of these girls. What's more, there is a poem, Fragment 31, in which she describes the heartaches she feels every time she sees a certain girl. So again, can be interpreted in a couple of ways, but a romantic interpretation is definitely one of them. So make of it what you will, I guess. Okay, clearly the poems don't give us enough information to make a call. So let's look at the historical context, because we sure can interpret all this the romantic way, but are those interpretations even likely in the historical context? Well, according to Plutarch, female pederasty was very much a thing in ancient Greece, in Sparta. I can't find evidence that this was also a thing outside of Sparta, but it's definitely possible. It's very possible that this was also a thing on Lesbos. So, was Sappho a lesbian? Well, she was born and raised, and she lived on the Isle of Lesbos, so one might say that she was literally lesbian. But was she lesbian as we understand the term now? Maybe, maybe not. Based on those poems, I dare say that there most likely was some attraction to females. And it seems like that would have actually been acceptable. But she did have a daughter, which implies a father. So she may not have been exclusively attracted to women. Of course, you can have kids and do the thing with a man without being attracted to men, but you know. So I think she may not have been a lesbian, but she was clearly, at the very least, sapphic, which is good, because it has her bleeping name. But I think that'll do. Time for the YouTube thing. Come on, folks. This is not your first rodeo. You know the drill. Please leave a comment below if you have anything to say or ask. Click that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more history. And don't forget to ring the bell so YouTube knows to let you know when I upload a new video. And share the video with all your friends. Also, in the description box below, you can find my sources and the links to my socials. Which means I have but one thing left to say to you. Thanks for watching.